In the mood for some country-style cooking or an iconic cocktail? Check out our handy-dandy ranking of popular menu items at Cheddar's Scratch Kitchen. One of the best parts of eating out at any restaurant is the free bread you get at the beginning of the meal. But at Cheddar's, the free option isn't always the best. You can get a basket of honey butter croissants for the table, usually for free, but they aren't always as fresh as you would probably prefer. Sometimes days-old bread can actually be super tasty, but when it comes to croissants, fresher is better. So unless you go to Cheddar's for lunch or an early dinner, or you just happen to get lucky, be prepared to be disappointed by the croissants. It's no secret that a good steak can be hard to come by, especially at chain restaurants. And when it comes to places that don't specialize in steaks like Cheddar's, it's probably best to stay away. Simply put, Cheddar's top sirloin steak is just going to be bland. And it's usually not cooked right either. As one TripAdvisor review divulged, the first steak was undercooked, and by the time the steak was prepared again, our party had finished eating. So timing of the meal was poor too. That steak we received the second time was charred and inedible. It may be true that a steak at Cheddar's won't be as expensive as the same option at a fancy steakhouse, but you're still better off splurging elsewhere. There's nothing quite like a really satisfying juicy burger. No matter what kind of mood you're in, a scrumptious patty in between two buns can satisfy all your cravings, while keeping things simple and relatively cheap. But when it comes to Cheddar's, their burgers are actually a little disappointing. Much like steak, what makes a burger satisfying is how it's cooked. It can't be underdone or overdone. And at a chain like Cheddar's, it's hard to ensure that every individual one will be well made. As one TripAdvisor reviewer warned, "I tried a few bites, but let's just say that this burger was not just subpar. It was a terrible burger." The waiter said that burgers weren't Cheddar's specialty. So when it comes to takeout burgers, you're probably better off at McDonald's.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
If you're a salad person, then you probably have your go-to varieties. Maybe you're a big fan of a good Cobb, or a traditional Caesar, or something more unique. And if you've ever had a chicken pecan salad, you know that it's usually pretty good, even from fast food joints like Wendy's. But Cheddar's apparently isn't holding up their end of the salad bargain. As a TripAdvisor reviewer complained, 6 small strips of chicken, a few candied pecans, and a handful of Walmart salad mix isn't worth $12.99. A pecan chicken salad might sound tasty, especially with the right dressing on top, but at Cheddar's, it's really nothing special. And for the same price, you could get something a lot tastier and a whole lot more filling. When you're craving tasty, tender, fall-off-the-bone barbecue, ribs are typically the perfect option. When they're done right, they're absolutely unforgettable. But at Cheddar's, they're more of a letdown that you'll easily forget. That's not to say that they're the worst thing on their menu, but they're also far from the best. For one thing, they tend to break one of the cardinal rules of good ribs. As a TripAdvisor review cautioned, the ribs were dry and almost bland if it wasn't for the barbecue sauce. The ribs might look like a good choice when you go to Cheddar's if you're super hungry, but ultimately, they probably won't satisfy any of your cravings and will probably just leave you hungry for something better. If you're looking for a flavorful chicken dish that's not fried or covered with gravy or sauce, then the lemon pepper chicken is your best bet at Cheddar's. It's encrusted with tasty lemon pepper seasoning, and it's only 520 calories, which is a healthier choice than most other poultry dishes on the menu. Despite being grilled instead of fried and seasoned instead of smothered, this is a generally satisfying option. All that delicious tangy and spicy goodness from the lemon and pepper permeates the chicken in a way that makes you forget that you're choosing a healthier menu option. It comes with 2 seasoned breast fillets on a bed of seasoned rice. You could choose 2 lower-calorie sides like steamed broccoli and steamed baby carrots, or if you have the appetite, you can indulge in heftier options like broccoli cheese casserole or a loaded baked potato. Unless you're just a super picky eater, you might not even ever consider ordering chicken tenders while out dining. To be fair, if you're eating somewhere that specializes in chicken like Popeyes or Raising Cane's, tenders are obviously a fine choice. But why would you select them if you're anywhere else? But at Cheddar's, it turns out that the tenders are actually one of the safest bets. As one TripAdvisor reviewer enthused, when you order the chicken tenders, you better be hungry, because Cheddar's has the best. Another reviewer was even more enthusiastic while declaring, "Their chicken tenders are amazing, star of the menu for me." Not because the other food is bad, but because the tenders are so good.
We were wolves, and we have the chicken to prove it.
When you think about dining out, you might not consider ordering something like cheese fries, which are more like bar food than restaurant food. But at a casual chain like Cheddar's, the cheese fries are actually delicious and definitely worth ordering. They might seem a bit basic, but that doesn't mean that they're not satisfying. As one TripAdvisor review cheered, "Whoever made those cheese fries deserves a raise. Best cheese fries I think I've ever had. Layered like movie popcorn." Honestly, who wouldn't want to eat a pile of decadent French fries covered in cheese? While they're not technically a full meal, they should still be enough to satisfy your appetite. If you grew up in the South, then you surely know just how delicious a good casserole can be. Or if you grew up in the Midwest, you might know them as hot dishes. Either way, if you're looking for comfort food at Cheddar's, you can't go wrong with a broccoli cheese casserole. It's like something your grandma would make for Sunday dinner, and it will make you feel nostalgic and satisfied all at once. As one Yelp reviewer raved, "Broccoli cheese casserole is a side dish I never leave without." And another online reviewer divulged, "The only thing my dining companion really liked on his plate was the broccoli cheese casserole." Cheddar's is the type of place that's ideal for visiting at the end of the work week to make all your troubles melt away. And to do that, you're going to need to order their famous tropical Painkiller cocktail. Cheddar's didn't invent this drink. That distinction goes instead to the Soggy Dollar Bar in the Virgin Islands, where owner Daphne Henderson created it in 1970. But Henderson wouldn't just give away her recipe. So the founder of Pusser's Rum, Charles Tobias, patented his take on the drink in the 1980s. These days, the Painkiller is pretty much synonymous with a visit to Cheddar's. As the patent for the Painkiller belongs to Pusser's, Cheddar's uses Pusser's Rum to create this powerful drink. It contains pineapple juice and cream of coconut, but it goes beyond the ordinary pina colada flavors by also including orange juice and a sprinkling of nutmeg on top. While it's not uncommon to get a Painkiller with a cherry and orange slice, Cheddar's offers a different twist by adding lots of tasty toasted coconut to the rim, as well as a cherry and a slice of fresh pineapple. The alcohol content of Pusser's original Admiralty rum is 84 proof, and the Painkiller comes with 2 ounces of rum. Customers are limited to 2 per visit, but we wouldn't recommend more than 1.
That's too much, man!
Believe it or not, Cheddar's actually has an impressive sandwich menu. And there's really only one that you should give a try if you haven't yet, and that's the Monte Cristo. If you're not exactly sure what a Monte Cristo consists of, one Yelp reviewer offered an excellent description by noting, "The sandwich contains smoked ham and smoked turkey. They dip it in a pancake funnel cake batter and dust in sugar powder. There is a raspberry preserve for dipping, which is pretty sweet and delicious. I would definitely recommend." And a reviewer on TripAdvisor raved, "I love Monte Cristo sandwiches, and this is the only place I know of to get a great one." So if you're craving something decadent at Cheddar's, then the Monte Cristo should be right up your alley. Much like steak, some quality grilled salmon is definitely the kind of dish you would typically expect to find at an upscale restaurant rather than a chain. So you might be surprised to learn that the salmon at Cheddar's is actually worth trying, and it might just have you coming back for more. It may very well be the best dinner option if you want something sufficiently classy and healthy. One TripAdvisor reviewer went so far as to claim that the salmon at Cheddar's was the best salmon dinner they'd ever had. Another described it as tender, flaky, and tasty, which is basically exactly what you want in this particular fish. So if you want to go for something a bit healthier that'll still fill you up, then the grilled salmon is waiting for you. With all of the options available on Cheddar's menu, you might not think to order something more down-home like the country fried chicken. It's basically just fried chicken breast with creamy gravy on top. But it's indeed one of the chain's best meals. There's no denying that this is a heavy and massive dish, so you had better come hungry. That said, it's exactly what you'd expect in a home-cooked meal. You have your choice of plenty of side dishes, and we would have to recommend the mashed potatoes with plenty of gravy. Cheddar's country fried chicken is honestly great comfort food. So if you've never had it, give it a shot the next time you stop by. When you think of a chicken pot pie, perhaps your mind goes to Frozen dinners or perhaps that one scene from The Office in which Michael Scott eats an entire family-sized pot pie for lunch.
And then he promptly fell asleep, so we're all trying to be very quiet so as to not wake him up before 5 p.m.
But at Cheddar's, the chicken pot pie is meant for one, cooked fresh and seriously decadent. One TripAdvisor reviewer raved, "The chicken pot pie is fabulous, with lots of chicken and also lots of vegetables." This dish is so popular that Cheddar's even shared the recipe during a local news segment. Clearly, the chain knows what it's doing when it comes to comfort food, as their pot pie is top tier and something that customers will keep coming back for again and again. Finally, the absolute best thing you can get at Cheddar's is without a doubt their country fried steak. Much like the country fried chicken, the country fried steak is exactly what you'd expect this particular dish to be, as it's absolutely cooked and seasoned to perfection. This steak is so beloved that it got a rave review in the Florida newspaper The Ledger, which declared, "The restaurant delivers an artful rendition, golden and crunchy on the outside, fork tender within, with equal amounts of coating and savory cube steak." And one TripAdvisor reviewer declared, "Been a while since I had a great country fried steak. The one at Cheddar's did not disappoint. Very tender, full of flavor, and the mashed potatoes were fluffy and gravy was great." The bottom line is, if you can only go to Cheddar's once in your life, then get the country fried steak, and we promise you won't be disappointed.